Hello and welcome to the Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, my name is Mike Piroworski. I am your co-host from the East Coast. That makes me the co-hostest with the mostest from the coastest with the mostest here on the Rundown, where we bring you 2A views of conservative news. Welcome to the program.
Most definitely, folks. However you are watching or listening, please make it a point right now to share. Encourage your friends to listen right now so that they can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. Folks, there's tons of different ways you can watch or listen, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Rumble, or, whether you're watching us on OpsLens or on Spotify or listening to us on wherever you get your podcasts. Folks, this is the place to be to listen to 2A news and conservative views.
Hey, I said that. That was me. I said that.
No, you always say 2A views and conservative news. So
that's what you said.
No, I said 2A news and conservative views.
There's a difference. I think you got it wrong. I think you go back to the logo.
Look,
you go back to the logo.
Read it. It's right there. Look, it's right there. 2A news and conservative views. You always say 2A views and conservative news.
Well, so mine's more accurate than what it says there. Yeah. Right. Not my fault. You wrote it down wrong.
Once again, the reason why we do not leave you unsupervised.
Oh, that's the only reason, I'm sure.
Good. How is your day going so far, sir?
Oh, that's great. A great, proud moment earlier today. This morning, the Tom Seaver statue was unveiled at Citi Field, marking the incredible tribute to history this year that the new owner for the Mets is doing. So it was a great day. It was a great day.
Excellent. It was funny. I took a note.
Are you laughing at Tom Seaver?
I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing because I took a note out of your book yesterday. I was doing actually a conference call yesterday, and we were talking about issues, political issues in particular, that were of importance, that were just kind of setting an agenda for the year going forward for this organization. And once again, it's a political group, but I'm like, yeah, I think the number one issue we need to be dealing with is the elimination of the designated hitter.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we could solve world peace with that. We really could.
Well, if the only thing that made it funnier was the fact that I could care less about baseball, but that is still humorous.
I'll have to find the old clip. I believe this is old SNY or Saturday Night Live reference, SNL reference. They're asking. This is around the time of the issues going on in Beirut. Okay, remember the bombings in Beirut. Yeah. And they got Jesse Jackson as one of the experts, and they ask him, Reverend Jackson, what do you think of Beirut? And he goes, personally, I think Hank Aaron was a better hitter.
I still love the guy who would do the baseball is being very good to me.
Oh my God! Yeah, he was a Met too. Baseball, but very good to me. My wife, not so much. Lawyers say no talk about that. Yep.
Yeah, they couldn't do that today.
No, not without getting sued by that lawyer.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
All right, hey, let's get to it, sir. All right, so information has come out about the individual who was involved in the shooting in Brooklyn, New York. Turns out, dude was kind of interesting. So first of all, they have arrested him, and there's actually arrest video, a video out there that is available of his arrest. Here, let me see if I can run that for you real quick. I don't know if you can see or hear that.
Carrying out the Brooklyn subway shooting. The video shows James wearing a reflective vest, wheeling a cart down the street and carrying a bag. Police suspect James opened fire on the subway, shooting 10 people.
Okay. So turns out though, dude's got issues. Dude was a bit. If you guys ever heard of Andy No, he does a lot of the conservative, he does a lot. He's known in conservative media circles. He's a kind of independent journalist. But turns out that our good friend, or the guy Frank James, turns out to be a little bit of a black nationalist. These are all images that come from his Facebook page or his Twitter page. I'm not sure, or Facebook. Yeah, his Facebook page. In any case, their whole narrative of trying to make this, there's a reason why you're not hearing a whole lot about this. And that, Mike, is because it doesn't fit the narrative of a white male mass shooter in New York.
No, he is a black nationalist, right, Greg?
Yes. He's not a white nationalist. He's a black nationalist.
Yeah. So does that mean we have a new category? Now we have old, fat, black guy? Because we got old, fat, white covered. But now we have old, fat, black guy.
Sorry, man. Nope. Sorry, that ain't going to work. Have you not?
No? All right.
Clearly, you are behind. You are behind in your critical race theory studies.
Well, I didn't know maybe this was a new generation, a new development. We get new things every. Maybe it's LGBTQ B F B N now, fat black.
Throw another B in there.
That's it. Yeah.
It's part of the
plus.
Adding them to it's part of the plus, Mike. It's part of the plus. It's all included in the
exactly
plus.
Right. Right. You're right. This does not meet anybody's narrative. So this will go away as I don't even know if they'll call it a domestic terrorism. I think you found the term they're going to call it. They're going to call this a crime of a black nationalist, and it's going to fade away, and we're not going to hear about it anymore. Nobody died. Also, I mean, let's check that. They didn't have a problem. Remember, because Craig, it used to be mass shooting events had to involve people that died. Now it's just random being shot in the leg, A-team style, I guess. So we don't have to worry about it. This guy is going to fade away into anonymity, and we'll never hear from his story ever again.
I mean, keep in mind, this is the same media that reports when dozens of rounds of ammunition are confiscated.
Yeah. In the arsenal. The arsenal
which included 3 firearms.
Yeah, dozens of rounds. Yeah. Exactly.
And they're also, by the way, trying to blame ghost guns.
Is it what? Who? Dubstep? What?
Every ghost guns got dubstep.
Oh, sorry. You said dubstep. What the
Dubstep,
hell is
ghost
dubstep?
guns, same difference.
Yep.
Which is more annoying, dubstep or ghost guns?
I'd probably have to go with dubstep.
Okay.
Put the two of them together in a video, that would be pretty awful. Yeah.
All right, folks, just do me a favor. In the comments, if you don't know what dubstep is, please say so.
Oh, if you want a free prize, I want a video of you doing dubstep with a ghost gun. That's what I want.
There you go. The challenge has been submitted. Let's see if any of y'all.
The gauntlet is down. We'll give you bling and prizes.
Folks, once again, this is just what this comes down to, and what this is really all about is, dude was just he's angry, and I don't know. I once again, we should not blame guns any more than we should blame, I don't know, fireworks or the smoke bomb or green workman vests, all of which were involved in this story, but none of them really have to do anything with the fact that dude was just angry and decided he was going to take his anger out on the people of New York. And he chose to do so utilizing firearms. Now, if he didn't have access to firearms, Mike, do you have any doubt that he would have still found a way or tried to find a way to harm people there in New York?
No, listen, he clearly had the ability to get other items like we talked about, whether it be smoke bombs. And folks, I guarantee you, smoke bombs are harder to find than guns. Right?
Yes.
You can't just walk in anywhere and go, let me get a couple of smoke grenades and a gun. They're going to be like, we don't carry smoke grenades, dude, but we got all the guns you want. They're not easy to find. So this guy had been planning and doing some work. So he would have found a way or a method, no matter what tools were available to him.
Exactly. So please understand that. Stop blaming the guns. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. $43 million for Twitter. That's right, Elon Musk. So you know that Elon Musk basically bought about 9% of Twitter. And in a way, in an effort to keep him from buying an even larger stake in Twitter, they offered him a board seat. But there's a requirement. You can only purchase so much stock of Twitter. You can only own a certain percentage of Twitter in order to sit on the board. That's why they offered him a board seat, so he would not buy more. So Elon Musk, in a way in which only Elon Musk can do, decided, hey, tell you what, I'll offer you $43 billion and just, take it off your hands. And once again, he's doing this and he's making this offer. And I honestly do not know if he is serious. I believe he is serious because the man has 280 billion. So 43 billion, yeah, that's a huge chunk of that. But his whole goal is he's like, look, this is supposed to be about free speech. And why don't you just let people, exercise their free speech rights, right? Let them be able to do that on Twitter. Let Twitter be what it's supposed to be, which is an opportunity for people to be able to communicate what they're saying and what they believe. And I just think it's phenomenal because they want to make him out to be this right wing, yada yada yada. And really, Elon Musk is about as libertarian as you can get.
Yeah, but Craig, to those on the left, libertarian and conservatives are the same thing that they're fighting against. So it doesn't. We are not liberals. That's all that matters. The difference to them between a conservative and a libertarian. I like this, Craig. I like you said, he was offered a board position after he obtained 9%, and now he's like, you know what? I don't want your board position. And then a week later, here's 43 million. Here's 43 million. And I'll tell you why the left is in a panic, because now all of a sudden you're hearing from them, oh, he's going to restrict our. I heard this morning watching the news. He's going to restrict our First Amendment rights. And I just laughed. I think I might have fallen off the couch when I heard it, Craig. He said they're worried that he's going to restrict their First Amendment rights. I don't know what Twitter they're using. I really don't, because the only thing that's on Twitter is the liberal point of view. There is no First Amendment rights on Twitter. In fact, if he took it, and I believe it's the whole reason he wants to take it over, is so he could say, "Oh, you want to see no restrictions on hate speech? You want to see no restrictions? That's what you're going to get. You're going to get real." Real free speech on a privately owned server, because without the government having their oversight on it, because once he becomes a private corporation, the FCC, SEC, everybody else no longer has any purview over it. It becomes a private corporation. It's not as a non-publicly traded company. He gets to make those rules.
What I found interesting was that you had that op-ed in the Washington Post of all publications talking about how we have to fight against billionaires or rich people taking control of communication, of media and communications. And I'm like, you do know who owns the Washington Post, right? The other most wealthy, the other richest guy in the country, the guy who goes back and forth with Elon Musk as to who's the richer guy. Yeah, Jeff Bezos.
And I bet he, the Washington Post wrote that story too, because guess what? Control the media, control the message, control the message, control the masses. As long as we put it out there, they'll believe it. That's what you get.
Yep, pretty much. So anyway, go Elon, go ahead and buy him. I'm down for that.
The other question was, Craig, with Elon, do you think if he takes over ownership, does he reinstate the mad tweeter?
Oh, definitely. Twitter was much more fun when Donald Trump was on it.
Listen, I think day one, I think that's how it happens. I think the press release is Elon Musk standing with Donald Trump, shaking their hands and like Elon handing his phone back to Donald. Here you go. Go for it. And then Donald doesn't even speak for 20 minutes. He just
that would be
he just tweets.
I'm in the middle of reading Bill Barr his new book, and he's talking about half the book. He's funny. He just talks about Donald Trump and his tweets and how much trouble they caused.
Yeah, well,
and the funny part was,
asked the man his opinion.
The funny part was he said he asked his staff. He was like, "Do you know what makes for a really good tweet? just the right amount of crazy.
Just, yeah, yeah.
I
No,
was
it's true.
like, wow.
It's true, but you know what? Ask the Ukrainians if they were invaded during the Trump administration.
No, they were not. Oh no, I'm still very much. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, the Trump presidency was a successful 4 years. Had it not
Yep.
been for Russiagate and Democrats basically doing everything to undermine his administration, he would have gotten a lot
Yep.
more done.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I also believe that had
Absolutely.
Democrats not gone after him and tried to work with him, we probably would have had some more liberal policies that we really didn't want, that you and I probably wouldn't want.
And remember, that's what he tried to do when the
Right.
first bout of anti-gun stuff came up when we were talking about red flag laws.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he sat down, he brought the cameras in, and showed that, hey, I'm willing to work with you people, but you're not. And
Right.
then they immediately started going after him with impeachment and impeachment.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
he opened up their playbook and showed everybody what it was.
Right.
And they didn't like that.
That's not because he's a liberal. The fact is, he's a deal maker. He's a pragmatist. And when they shut the
he's
door
the
on
deal
doing a
maker,
deal, he
yep.
said, well, if the conservatives all I got to work with, then that's who I'm going to work with.
Yep. Yep.
Such
I'll
was
show you
life.
bipartisanship. Let's bring the cameras in here while we all negotiate. And they all sat there and said dumb things, and couldn't come up with reasons to back him up. And he just went, there you go.
150% agree. All right, moving right along. Oh, this was one that really got me. And by the way, this was something that I already knew. In the state of California, we had I don't know if I want to call it the pleasure, but we dealt with Kamala Harris as the district attorney in the city of San Francisco, who, well, to be quite honest, sucked at her job there. She was the attorney general in the state of California, and during her time as attorney general, we saw the first increase in crime and violent crime that we had seen in over 20 years. Then became our senator, who embarrassed us time and time again on national news media, on national stage. Then decided to run for president and couldn't even get 1% in the polls, right? And then all of a sudden, she just was running for vice president, and the left loved her, right? Well, now come to find out, Kamala Harris. Well, Californians hate Kamala. I mean, we all know that her poll numbers are bad, but you would think that in the state of California, which she calls home, you would think that that would probably be where her numbers would be pretty good. That's usually what you look for. Well, Kamala Harris now, the home state has turned on her. 35% of California residents approve of the job that she's doing. 35%, Mike. That means that the overwhelming majority of people in the state of California think that Kamala no good at her job.
Wait a second. I thought her home state was Jamaica. Do we change that again? Is that
No, it's California.
all right? I thought
Her
she was from
father
Jamaica.
was Jamaican, but she's California, man.
Okay, just checking the facts again. Listen. If there were, follow me here, Craig. If there was a competent president, would her numbers be higher?
Probably because we wouldn't hear much from her.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't hear much from her also, and we wouldn't expect anything from her, right? So so if we don't expect anything from you, your ratings are probably a little higher. But right now, people are looking at her going, damn, she's so horrible. We can't replace this guy with her. What happened? Didn't anybody see this coming? So I think if she were more, if we had a more competent president, her numbers might actually be higher because they wouldn't be expecting anything from her. And if you don't expect anything from anybody, how can they let you down, right? So her numbers might be higher. But she's clearly the focus is on her, and I think the focus has been on her like it's been on no other vice president because of the mental illness. I don't call it mental illness, aged illness that the president's going through. I think more people are focused on her capabilities.
Well, what's funny is that during the same time that Joe Biden, the president, got an uptick of 3%, she actually went. So she went down, and his approval ratings went up.
Well, we know she goes down. That's for sure. So.
Only Willie knows that for sure.
I was talking about in the ratings, you pervert.
Yeah, only Willie knows that for sure.
Yeah, but no, I really think so. I think that if he was halfway competent, her ratings would be higher. But either way, she's an idiot. She's a moron. Don't do the cackle. Don't do the cackle.
Don't do the cackle. I'm just the only thing is that I'm hoping that he isn't bottoming out, or they aren't bottoming out too early. I mean, they've still got basically 2.5 years to pull their ratings out of the dumpers.
Yeah.
And that's a concern to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want them to do a better job because I actually, I love my country and I want us to do well as a country. What I don't want is the only way that they do that is by changing their policies, and I don't see that happening. I don't want them to be successful implementing their policies because their policies, as we've seen, are only making things worse. I want them to do better by actually doing good things. And
let's just be clear now. Listen, I don't want them to fail because I don't want America to fail, but their policies are what's causing America to fail.
Exactly.
It's not like they're being a bad president, so America's falling apart. It's their policies are horrible also. The policies are driving up inflation, are keeping the job losses high. Our foreign policy is horrible. We need them to change what they do. But I understand, Craig, if they change what they do and they get better approvals, well, then it'll be harder to beat, in the election in 2024. Right. I don't know that we have to worry about that. I think back to George H.W. Bush, Herbert Walker, the father. Remember, he won a war and was on top of the world with like a 92% approval rating at the end of the war. And then 2 years later, lost his job. Right. Yeah. So I don't see how anybody can go from the bottom to the top. It's possible to go from the top from the bottom, but to go from the bottom to the top, you've got to get over some
Keep
serious...
in mind, though, that he had, as is usual with a Republican president, he had the media completely and utterly against him. We have a media that, quite frankly, is of the left, and they involve and engage in major propaganda campaigns against Republicans and against Republican presidents. That there's absolutely no doubt about that, and except for maybe at those in the media, but they definitely are engaged. So if you look at it, and it's funny because once again in A.G. Barr's book, he talks about his time as Attorney General there with the elder Bush. And and a lot of the stuff, and I didn't even realize, and looking back on it, he actually did a lot of really good things as president. Unfortunately, there was a recession that was probably one of the shortest lived recessions, and the worst thing that he could have done was say, "Read my lips, no new taxes," and then instituted taxes. Because in the end, I think
that was it.
Well, that and Ross Perot was what got him.
That was it. Because of the three-party, and he took away the 4% vote, and then ended up Bill Clinton got. So,
exactly.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of different factors there, but when you slide from 92% to under 50%, and you lost over 43% of your ratings, he lost more ratings than Kamala even has right now.
Yeah, there you go. He lost more than Kamala has. Interesting point.
Yeah.
All right, this next story I had to share because when I came across it, I could not believe it. And all this really kind of came down to is, I would just say, because guns. All right, so this gentleman, here I'll pull up the story here. So this guy is he's a former old guard member. He basically had firearms, or he's the quote unquote a carload of weapons, and he was near a joint base there in Northern Virginia. He got stopped and was questioned Basically, he was, for lack of a better term, he was put in jail because they thought that he had stolen items amongst his firearms. A plate that they said that a rifle plate that they said belonged to the military. He spent 7 months in jail. Right, because of these firearms. And in the end, it turns out they wound up releasing him and dropping all the charges. And once again, Mike, Mike, the only reason, really, quite frankly, why I'm sharing this story is because there is just this belief out there, and unfortunately, it seems to be pretty popular amongst law enforcement, or many in law enforcement, is if you have a gun and you are not a cop, or if you're not and you're not a cop, you're a bad guy. And this just seems to play into this.
Let's promote this again. Law enforcement executives, law enforcement administrators.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for that clarification.
And the policies of many, Craig. And I've seen agencies right next door to each other, and just based on the politics of their executives, have completely different policies when it comes to firearms and the releasing of firearms. Listen, folks, if you have a gun and you use a gun aggressively and you're near a police officer, you're a dumbass, all right, and you deserve whatever the police do to you. We're talking about responsible gun owners. This gentleman, from all outward appearances, appeared to be a responsible gun owner, was carrying his firearms correctly, had them secured correctly. Everything was fine. When he got arrested and they realized he had guns, they made his life miserable and kept him for 7 months. 7 months behind bars. By the way, it's absolutely illegal to keep you beyond 179 days unless, Craig, at some point, maybe he waived speedy trial, but if they hold you in prison for 7 months, you don't have a lot of time to meet with your lawyers, okay? So unless he waived speedy somehow, they're going to find that he was held against his constitutional rights, and all charges will be dropped, and he's going to be making a nice chunk of money. But the point to be made is, like you said, Craig, it's about the firearms and their policies against it. Here's a guy who's a former member of the old guard. What's that mean? And I don't know if you guys caught that. It doesn't mean some organization. It means he was one of the soldiers at Arlington Cemetery. That was his job, to stand tall in the blues, provide the services, bury the heroes, and everything like that. And it's back there where he got picked up. So he wasn't there disgruntled. He wasn't there trying to kill an old boss. He just happened to have the same items that he'd carry on active duty. He was now carrying in civilian life. Right. But guess what? You're going away for 7 months, and we're not even telling anybody you're here.
And by the way, to your point, the officers who initially encountered him, they didn't arrest him. They confiscated the firearms. They called him back 9 days later to come get his stuff, and that was when they arrested him for receiving stolen goods. So this was a decision that was made by higher ups, not by the rank and file officers.
Yes, and listen, when they talk about this rifle plate, there are so many things that could be.
Right.
I don't know if they're talking about the plate from the side of a machine gun, which the plate's what's considered the automatic weapon. I don't know if they're talking about a marking plate that sticks on the side and tells you the nomenclature from it. Because there's plenty of this junk that the military tosses away too, and you'll take and stick it to the side of your footlocker, and it looks cool because it's been trashed, it's been thrown away. I have no idea what this rifle plate is they're referring to. Exactly.
Well, and the other reason why they threw it out was because they basically illegally searched him. You folks may or may not know this, but if an officer asks to search you or search your car, you actually, unless you are in custody, you have a right to say no. I mean, unless you're on probation, parole, unless you are in custody.
And then it has to be by the probation. Right. If you're on probation or parole, it has to be by the probation officer or the parole officer. Law enforcement can't do it. But where was he during the time of the arrest, Craig?
It says, at the time of the arrest. Or what you mean when they because they're keep in mind they didn't arrest him at the cemetery.
I got you. So the time of the search.
Yeah, he was near the joint base, Meyer Henderson Hall in North Virginia. So all it says is he was near the base.
So again, what it's going to come down to is, where was he? He might have been near the base and still been on federal property. So if he's on federal property, guess what? You don't have the option of saying no. Once you've entered government property, you give up the right to non-consent. You have to show if they ask you.
Well, that's not what the judge said. The judge said that no, they didn't have the right to legally search you.
Well, here's where it might be that way. And let me just give you a for instance. Again, we don't know these facts, but I want to just give you a for instance. Okay.
All right.
A military base has a gate that goes around the military base, correct?
Yes.
And on that fence, it says Anybody that comes in here is subject to search and seizure at our pleasure. Okay, we've all seen those signs before, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, the military base doesn't start at the gate. It actually starts 100 yards beyond the gate in the clear area. So the military has that maneuverability area outside the gate in case anything goes wrong, where they still have legal jurisdiction. However, nobody knows that, and they don't tell people that. And so he may have been stopped outside the gate, but still on federal land. That's where the judge may have said, no, technically you're right, but it has to be posted and for them to know about it. I'm calling shenanigans. So that's what may have happened. Now, another judge could have easily gone the other way and said, I'm sorry, it's federal land. Jurisdiction is jurisdiction.
Excellent point. Excellent points all. Good thing, if I were in legal trouble, I'd know I would not hire you as my attorney, but short to court.
I'll give you the best baseball news every day. So. That's it.
All right,
we lost your case, but the Dodgers won.
All right, let's move on to our parting shot, and we've got actually a few of them that are pretty darn good. This first one, this is the way I feel very, very often. I feel like this guy that's there on the shore, here. You guys will get this in a second. Guys, watch out for the waterfall. And that's exactly how the mainstream media and the left treat people. I mean, whether we were talking about Hunter's laptop, whether we're talking about COVID cures, whether we're talking about, whatever it is that we're talking about as conservatives, that's the way the left and the mainstream media treat us. Like, oh yeah, no, you guys don't have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. For example,
for those just listening to the podcast, it's a guy standing next to a waterfall.
Yeah.
And he says, guys, watch out for the waterfall. And a guy in one boat further back says, you flipping conspiracy theorist. A woman in the second boat says, where's your tinfoil hat? And the third guy, as he's going over the waterfall, says, source.
Hilarious. Okay, now this next one you guys will appreciate as well, because that guy that's going over the waterfalls, this was him beforehand, and there's a guy here with a mask on, and he's wearing a sandwich board, and the sandwich board says, "My mask protects Ukrainian pregnant men from climate change."
It's true.
It is definitely true. And when you understand that these are the folks that compromise the left, that make up the left, that is what makes this last meme possible. And that is this. You want to tell the folks for the folks who are listening, you want to tell them what we're looking at?
Sure. It says, you ever look at something and wondered how it got there? And the first one is this, like a little car, like 30 feet up in the trees. It's just stuck there in the trees. The next one is an X-ray of somebody has a key inside their stomach. They've swallowed a key somehow. The third one is a cow on a roof, and this is not like a flat roof. This is like a 45-degree angle roof. Okay. And then the last one is Joe Biden sitting in the White House in the Oval Office.
I could not decide. I could not pick just one. I'm like, all of these are phenomenally hilarious and kind of make up the times in which we currently reside.
That's right. Here in Oz.
All right, Mike. Hey, how about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Let's say hello to our good friends at Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, and of course the fine folks out at California Republican Assembly. Make sure you support them because they support us, supporting you, supporting us, and supporting them.
Exactamundo. Please make sure you support them. Also, remember, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. That is going to be it for this Thirsty Thursday edition of The Rundown. Once again, please encourage your friends to tune in and join us in the conversation. We will talk to you tomorrow on Freedback Friday. Peace.